enter the realm of living myth. Voice of Olympus, hosted by Hercules Invictus and Athena Victory, celebrates the mythic impulses of ancient Greece and Rome, and they invite you to celebrate with them. Welcome to Voice of Olympus.
Greetings and welcome to the Voice of Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus.
And I'm Athena Victory.
And this is a Spiritual Unity Radio Network, or SURN for short. Today is the last show of Season 1 for Voice of Olympus. It's amazing to think that we've been doing this for 6 months now.
Wow.
And Season 2 will be beginning next week. Season 2 will be a little bit different than Season 1. In Season 2, we're going to be focusing on our latest Age of Heroes initiative called the Elysium Project, and the season is called Mount Olympus Cares, because we're going to be focusing on more mundane aspects of applied spirituality. And I'm really excited by where we're going with this. We're going to have more extended episodes in Season 2, and we're going to have our first spin-off happening in September, the Pride of Olympus. So today's episode is special also because we have wonderful guests. Michael Dunkin, we've had on before on the show about the Urantia book, and his lovely wife Dianne Dunkin is joining us today, and together they're going to talk about the sixth revelation, which is a very balanced new way of looking at spirituality. So I'm really, really excited about exploring that with them and learning more about it. And of course, they've made parallels with Olympian mythology with Zeus and Hera and the father and the mother. And Hercules is one of their angels. So that's pretty awesome. So, of course, aside from all the other wonderful things, those are wonderful things that I happen to like a lot. So without further ado, Michael and Dianne, welcome to Voice of Olympus.
Oh, hi. This is Dianne.
Hi, Dianne. How are you?
I'm just great today. Thank you, Hercules.
I'm so happy to hear that. And much as I want to dive right into the sixth revelation, I figured we would spend the first half of the show learning more about you and Michael. You're both very spiritual people, and you've been on this path for a very long time, and it was wonderful how you met and all the wonderful things that happened subsequently. So I guess we'll start with you, Dianne. When did you first feel the call of spirit?
Well, actually, I was raised by a Seventh-day Adventist mother who had a family that were Seventh-day Adventists for generations. So I immediately became a vegetarian as a very young child, and I felt that the Spirit was leading me to be guided by the angels, and I talk to them every day, and I have talked to them in all of my whole life, and they respond. You know, if you spend time really wanting to be with them and wanting to know the truth of everything that you do in your life, day-to-day activities, they will respond, and they will give you the love that you give them and give it back multifold.
That must be amazing to have lived a life in constant communion with the angelic hierarchy.
It is, because there are so many things every day that you want to know the truth about, and it's so marvelous to be able to ask them and have the trust and the faith that you know that they are right. And I would trust my life to them, and of course I have in many instances in my long life. But after I grew up and I started studying various cultures, I became a Rosicrucian. I've always been very interested in the ancient Egyptians and ancient Greek world, Sumeria, all of the ancient cultures have been fascinating to me. And I do believe that the spiritual vehicle does continue to live throughout many lives. And I have looked back into the lives that I have led, and so many were in Greece. And I find that area particularly fascinating.
Much of my prior incarnations were there as well, and I have very strong Northern European and Western European connections that have greatly influenced my spirituality. I suspect that I lived many tribal lives too, because the tribal forms of religion have always called to me and have benefited me as I explored them in this life.
Yes. Also, I did get into theosophy for quite a few years, and I still consider myself a theosophist, and I always will. And also, I want to say that I did become very interested in the Tao. I did fly with Michael. We went to Singapore and Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, and we flew in the same plane as Master Wong, who is the master of the Tao from Taiwan. And when we arrived in Kuala Lumpur, he gave us a beautiful reception with everyone coming together to the altar with large fruit dishes, and then afterward gave us a beautiful lunch, and I was very, very fortunate to have a 2-hour talk with Master Wong. It was at that time with an interpreter. Michael and I had to have an interpreter, but now, after all these years, that was quite a few years ago, he comes out here to California, and he is doing beautifully with his English. But
wow.
Tao Temple in our home, and I'm very proud to say that we've had 25 members take the Tao ceremony in our living room, in our home. We have quite a few altars in the home. In several rooms we have different altars, and we do still have a great interest in that, but I have to say that in 1985 I found the Urantia book, and that was the year that my life took a real change, because my meditation started bringing me to seeing a very young man come into my life. And for 4 years, he came into my life almost every day in my meditations. He was brought in by a Greek-looking gentleman, one of my angels. I think that it is my guardian angel. And he would wear a little chiton, a white chiton, and he kind of looked like Socrates, the statues you see, but of course he's not. His name is Mark II. And he brought in this young man to visit and pray, and we would sit around chairs in a hassock in my family room and pray all together. And the young man, after a while, after a few sessions, would come and join us, and we would all hold hands. Finally, at one point, the scene changed, and we were on the beach at the Ritz-Carlton in California. We're in Southern California, and there the young man was grown up, and I would drive my car to the ocean, and I would take off my sandals and throw them and run to this young man who looked like a Greek god, and he had long, flowing golden hair in this little Greek type of robe and little sandals that had little laces winding up his feet like they used to wear so many thousands of years ago. And in the meditations, I grew to learn and to study with this young man, and we would walk along the sands. And all of a sudden, I'd sometimes see many people following us, and they would be following and just trying to be as close as they could as we walked along the sand. Well, after 4 years of this, all of a sudden the young man was gone for 2 years. But then I was told by the angels that to complete the missions I had to make in this world, that I was to look for him and to open my eyes. And I did, and in the middle of a beautiful choir at UCI, he was in the center, a beautiful singer, a tenor, and we met, and I explained to him what our missions were to be, and can you believe he trusted me, and eventually we were married, and we have been trying to fulfill these missions that the good Lord has been given to us.
So, Michael, you're also a Greek god too, is that correct?
Michael wore those little shoes. When I met him, can you believe this, Hercules? He had those little tan leather shoes on. This pair of shoes was the connection between a world that was in another realm and the real world. And he was the one that actually wore those shoes in my meditations. And how this happens, I will never understand. But it did, and he is in the flesh, and so am I. And we are together trying to fulfill our missions.
That is incredibly awesome.
Too. Mm-hmm.
Is Michael still there?
Yes, he is, right here.
Okay, so we have your path until you met Michael, and now let's hear Michael's path until he met you. And this way we'll start on the tale of your path since meeting. Greetings, Michael.
Well, greetings, Hercules, and greetings, Athena Victory. Hey, Hercules, I just wanted to say thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to express our life work and our mission and our upcoming mission. And I wanted to say that this is a wonderful, wonderful ministry you're doing. You're giving people a voice for some of their dreams and their hopes of changing the world. And I just wanted to thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your kind words. It's my pleasure. And you and your wife are also pioneers of the spirit, and you're going to places beyond the comfortable spiritualities people are born into or that they find with a little bit of looking, and you're tapping into something entirely new and exciting. So how can I not be excited?
Well, thank you. I haven't thought about the analogy as pioneers, but I guess we are. And we're even pioneers in the Urantia book movement. It's been around, since, the papers have been developed, some say in the early teens, 20s, 30s, and then the Urantia book was published in 1955 in Chicago. And there are three main worldwide organizations that, profess the teachings of the Urantia book. But even within the Urantia book movement, we're definitely pioneers. And our journey has been an amazing one, Hercules. As Dianne told you, I'm the guy in the bathtub meditation. I'm the guy.
So do you have I know you have the footwear, but do you have the ancient Greek costume as well, or that's on the astral plane?
Oh, yes. In the meditations, especially on the beach, I wore the Greek chiton with the sandals. But since that time, through our spiritual journey, I mean, I've worn Tao robes, and I've worn Chinese vestments, and we've been a big part of our spiritual journey was in Theosophy and Rosicrucianism. So we studied a lot of different cultures and a lot of different religious philosophies, and they have seemed to bring us to the Urantia book at this point. And our work with the Father and Mother, and Infinite Mother, which you'll hear a little bit later on, is definitely through the Urantia book and through my presidency as the Los Angeles Society president. But I just wanted to kind of go back and tell you a little bit about how I met Dianne, if that's
that would be awesome.
Okay, thanks. So I wanted to be a professional soccer player. All right. My parents were big in sports. My dad was always the coach of the baseball team and the soccer team. And in high school, I was scouted for some colleges in soccer. And I thought, okay, I'll go to college, maybe start, a little bit easy, not, quite a big 4-year college. So I went to the University of Laverne, and I played soccer there. And in my second year, we won the championship of the Division III conference. So that was really exciting. But some of the soccer players were my friends, and they belonged to a fraternity. So I joined a fraternity called Delta Sigma Phi, of which I'm still a member.
Awesome.
But, yeah, and they decided to have a talent contest, and I had always been a singer. You know, I'd always loved to sing. My dad would play Bee Gees and Barbra Streisand on the radio and all that, and I'd sing, you know, my falsetto and all that with them. So I did the talent show, and it was a wonderful success. I sang Bridge Over Troubled Water, Simon and Garfunkel, and they really loved it. And my parents were there, and it was just a wonderful experience for me. And it was at that point I decided to become a professional singer. So I wanted to transfer from University of Laverne, and I looked in, you know, college catalogs, and I saw that UC Irvine in Irvine, California, had a fine arts program, and that word, fine arts, just shouted out to me and said, "Oh, I want to be a fine artist," you know. So thanks. So I transferred to UC Irvine, and I got involved in the choir program and voice lessons and all that. And we were doing tours to Japan, and we sang for the Queen in Llangollen, Wales. But it was during, like Dianne mentioned, it was during one of the choir rehearsals that she saw me in the middle of the choir, and based on her meditations, the lights just went off, and she just saw me, and that was it. That was the beginning of everything for us. So we connected, and I came to take voice lessons at her home, piano lessons at her home, and her son, Don, was very much into theosophy. He even wrote his doctoral thesis on theosophy. And they got me into theosophy, and I became a vegetarian in 1992. But Dianne and I became closer, and we started working really closely together, and we felt that we had a real spiritual path together. So we are now on what I call, and she calls, the great experiment. we think that God has had a plan for us to come together and sing His praises, basically.
That's very exciting, and one of the things I find especially exciting is that it's not just God the Father, but God the divine couple, which includes the mother. And we're missing that balance in our world, which tends towards the yang or the male energy. And the fact that you're trying to restore the energy, I see this as analogous to when the troubadours were trying to bring the feminine energy back into Christianity through the tales of chivalry and the Arthurian legends and so forth, with the Grail, which was the legend involved the lance as well as the cup and the balance between the two. So I'm seeing the same thing happening in our world, and you're one of the voices that have popped up to restore this balance. So I'm very excited about that.
Thank you. Well, that was very beautifully put, Hercules. And it's the Urantia book is a really wonderful text of papers. There's a whole paper devoted. It's paper 34 out of the 196 papers. Paper 34 is devoted to the local universe, Mother Spirit. We have local universes, and we have super universes, and we have the Havona circuits, and we have paradise, going up and up and up. But this local universe Father has a co-sovereign, and she is the local universe Mother Spirit. She's also called a creative daughter of the infinite Spirit, and she is co-equal. She's co-equal ruler with the local universe Father. And most of the, when we talk about the Spirit of Truth, from the evolutionary religions and the Holy Spirit, those energies are expressed through her. The Spirit of Truth from the Father is expressed through her as, kind of like a mother on earth, expresses the love and the nurture of, the couple, of the marital couple. Well, she also expresses the Spirit of Truth and the Holy Spirit to all the local universe creation. And she happens to be co-sovereign, they're co-equal rulers, co-equal administrators, and co-equal upholders. And we would like for people to recognize that the feminine, like the yin and the yang, the feminine is just as important as the masculine for what you're calling that balance. So we want to try and restore that in the Urantia book movement too. A lot of focus is on the father, a lot of focus is on the son, and a lot of focus is on the local universe father, which they call Michael, which is a Michael's son. So it would be nice to kind of bring that in and balance that out.
In the theosophical systems that I have been led to and that I'm currently working with, it's also very balanced, the male and the female polarities. And very few people realize the expansiveness of things like the Urantia book, Theosophy. We're dealing with vast spaces and incredible amounts of time. And even what we're doing with Mount Olympus, it's still a fairly local solar system type of project at present, just to introduce people slowly to the expansiveness. But these spiritualities really encourage you to transcend your limited thoughts and to embrace the cosmos and to see yourself not only as a citizen of the nation you were born into, but of the universe as a whole. And the effect that has on your thinking is profound, and your worldview is altered, and you can't go back to looking at things ever the way you saw them before because it just seems too small. So, go ahead.
Yes. Oh, Hercules.
Hi, Diana.
Hi.
How are you, Diane?
I just am fine. I just wanted to mention, since you were talking about that it was the Infinite Mother Spirit who is also guiding us, and she is the one who is telling us to pray not only for our world and world peace, but she wants us to do as you are talking about, to also include the other planets and the other solar systems, other universes. She wants us to pray and to think beyond our own Earth. So I just had to put that comment in because of what you were saying so beautifully about expressing ourselves and reaching out further than even our own planet. And thank you for bringing that out.
Oh, I feel it's so important, and that's why I like the work that you're doing. Are you both involved with the Rosicrucians still? And was it the Amorc Rosicrucians, or was another branch of the Rosicrucian movement?
We were involved in San Jose, and I was going there quite often. I think because of my previous incarnations in Egypt, that even at 5 years old, I was doing hieroglyphics.
Wow.
And if you come to my home, I have a replica of King Tut's chair, a full size, and I have done lectures on the family of Akhenaten and King Tut's stepfather, and Nefertiti and Queen Ty, and the whole beautiful family. And I personally believe that Akhenaten, did bring to the world a view of the one God, but always included in the family portraits of Akhenaten and his wife Nefertiti, him kissing her, him embracing his children. They had 6 little daughters, and the family was so important, and he tried to give the example of the father and mother. And Akhenaten is revered in the Urantia book, and we are given quite a bit of information about him. So the Egyptian you will find all over my home, and
I look forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Here's Michael.
Okay. Hi, Michael.
Hello. We're so happy to celebrate with you guys. I heard the word celebration in the intro to the radio program. So we're so happy to celebrate with you. It's such a time. It's a time for celebration, you know?
Indeed it is. The world could use as much celebration as people can generate because despite all our hardships, despite all our challenges, there are still very many wonderful things on this green earth and this green and blue earth. And I think part of our mission here is to appreciate and enjoy this planet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I believe so. And, I wanted to go back to something you said that you were talking about earlier about how the philosophies and the religions and the spiritual approaches, that are really developing and have developed, in this past century, they really are giving us a broader view of the cosmos. And I think when we reach our minds out, when we reach our souls out to a broader cosmos, we see what a beautiful structure, what a beautiful system that gods, have created for us. They've created an order, they've created a system for us to grow and for us to serve. And the more we understand this vastness and all these stretches of time, the more we're humbled, and the more we say to ourselves, wow, this is an amazing creation. We should be celebrating this amazing creation with all of these wonderful beings that are helping us and giving us their love. Why not take on a responsibility or a role in, trying to be like that, to help our fellow brothers and sisters, and like Dianne said, to also reach out to those divine beings that are giving us assistance and say thank you and say we love you, and hey, let's talk, let's be together. What advice
and communicate. You and Dianne have started a Pray for Peace celebration where you're inviting people, regardless of their beliefs or non-beliefs, to join you in praying for peace. Can you tell us a little bit about that before we go to break?
Oh, yes. Yeah, thank you, Hercules. I appreciate you mentioning it because it's a very, very important part of our ministry right now. This period of time, in our meetings with the Father and the Mother and the Infinite Mother, they have stressed that one of their main objectives for us, for Dianne and I, and for this world at this time, possibly a three-year period, possibly longer, they would like everyone to focus more on cultivating and praying for world peace. And that's one of the objectives, is to have people's hearts open to world peace. And what we've done is a couple of team meetings. We call them team meetings because Dianne and I, we meet with the local universe Father, we meet with the local universe Mother, and sometimes with the Infinite Mother Spirit, which we kind of call her Grandma sometimes because she's actually the Mother. She's on a higher level, like a more of a super universe level, but she's the Mother of the local universe Father and local universe Mother. But she has stressed that she wants everyone to open their hearts to world peace. So a couple meetings ago, she said, okay, we would like you to start a world peace prayer circle on, maybe an inner level, maybe even an outer level. So what we did was we were guided to have this worldwide prayer circle for world peace during each team meeting, each monthly team meeting that we have with the Mother and Father and sometimes the Infinite Mother. So they've given us dates. They give us dates for the meetings / prayer circles for every month. So what we've done is we've put that out to our Urantia book community and invited them. We've had 2 so far since July, and we have about 200 plus people that we're contacting and that are starting to follow and join us for our worldwide prayer circles. Now, it doesn't, regardless of your religion, regardless of your spiritual philosophy, what have you, we're just asking that at that time we all come together on an inner level, on a mind level, spiritual level, pray for world peace or to give positive thoughts about world peace, to think about world peace, meditate on world peace, wherever you are in the world, at that time, we come together and we pray for world peace.
That is incredibly awesome. And on that note, we're going to go to break. And while you were speaking, I was inspired by what you were saying, and I had a couple of ideas. So I will bounce them off of you after break. Thank you very much, Michael and Dan. I look forward to speaking with you in a few minutes again. And Athena, what is our song for today?
Well, for our midpoint musical interlude, we have Bone Poets Orchestra with Contact Strange World.
I am always contacting strange worlds, and this is sometimes.
Contact. We have contact. Over.
Contact right. Okay, engine stop.
Everyone needs a hand coming round to understand. We build consensus reality. It's a strange world we're swimming through among like-minded fools. It's a strange world for me and you. Who makes the rules? We make it up as we go. By the vote into the house from them that don't. They shear us like we're fighting lambs. And it's a strange world they're tripping through. They think of blinded fools. You want a strange world for me and you. Better change the rules and make them up as they go.
International Pagan Radio, a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week streaming radio station. We have informative Facebook page, interactive Facebook group, absorbing interviews with musicians, engaging shows with excellent hosts, and dynamic interviews with spiritual leaders. Come join us. We have the very best pagan music from around the world. We feature artists such as Dave the Bard, S.J. Tucker, Murphy's Midnight Rounders, Elaine Silver, Izon, Brian Hinkie, Robin Renee, Fawn, and so many more, all available for your listening pleasure 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We are also available on TuneIn Radio, so go to www.internationalpaganradio.com. It's all pagan, all the time.
You're listening to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. Thanks for sticking around. And now, back to the show.
We are back. This is Hercules Invictus.
And Athena Victory, and Xena, the warrior princess Chihuahua.
Whose birthday it was yesterday. She's 6 years old now. You getting old, Xena? We are here tonight, the last episode of Season 1, and we have wonderful guests, Michael and Dianne Dunkin from the Urantia book group in Los Angeles. They've had an interesting life apart and together. They wandered through the Rosicrucian teachings, through theosophy, through Taoism. They found their home in the Urantia book, and now they've been granted with a new revelation, one that can restore balance to our very unbalanced world. So welcome back, Michael and Dianne.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Hercules, and thank you, Athena Victory. And happy birthday, Xena.
Oh, it's your birthday.
Thank you.
A little chihuahua.
She's wagging her tail.
She's wagging her tail.
Because somebody said her name.
So thank you.
That's pretty nice.
Without further ado, I would like to jump right into the sixth revelation. I have, of course, spoken to you guys before, and I've read the material that you've written, and I've looked at the artwork, so I have a little bit of background. Can you please share this background with our audience?
Yes, thank you so much, Hercules. Thanks for reading our material. We've sent our material out to a handful of folks. It's just kind of been recent, within the last year or so, that things have really developed for us regarding our relationship with the Father, Mother, and Infinite Mother. In December of 2013, Dianne was dusting her bureau drawers, and all of a sudden, in front of her field of vision, a lightning bolt came in front of her vision, and one side went dark, but then the other side lit up with a vision which later would come to be experienced as an encounter with the Father and the Mother. And I think probably giving her the phone she would express it a lot better than I would. But this is kind of the beginning of the sixth revelation and our really intimate working and loving relationship with Father, Mother, and Infinite Mother.
Oh,
awesome.
Thank you, Hercules. I just want to say that I was fully awake. I was fully conscious. I was just working in what we call the Urantia room. We have painted on the door of the Urantia room a huge banner of the Infinite Mother Spirit. And in 2012, in August, she told me that she would be sponsoring us for a few years in a certain direction. And so she gave me her banner, and we painted it on both sides of the door. And I was in that room, cleaning the room, when all of a sudden there was like a lightning bolt. It's kind of like you think about the Greek, with the lightning bolt.
Yes.
Zeus, And in fact, I just bought a shirt with a lightning bolt because that made such a impression on my whole life now. But it went dark on the right side of my vision. On the left side, I saw him, and he was so glorious. He was the Father, what we call the local universe Father. Maybe they might have called him Zeus at one time or whatever, but he in the Urantia book is called the local universe Father. And he had beautiful rays coming out from him all around him, but they were thick rays, not small. They were very thick, probably 3 or 4 inches thick. Each one was a different color. There was a pearl, silver, there was a golden yellow. Each ray, this is what was so unusual, was a variance of color all around him. And he had beautiful gold hair coming down to his shoulders in wavy locks. And he had on a white robe with a round neck and then long sleeves. And he was sitting in front of a table. Now, I saw this completely with the rays, but then all of a sudden that disappeared. And then instead I saw him and a female, what I thought at first were angels, and she was on his right as I was looking at them. He was on the left, and they were talking together. It was like watching a TV program where people were talking together. And they were kind of laughing, and she was kind of responding. And then at times she'd go like she was in awe of him, and she'd just kind of drop her jaw, and just because he was so fabulous and so spectacular. And you could tell that she worshipped him, and she loved him and adored him. And I knew, I was fully awake still during all this time. And I knew in my mind I had to be very careful and look at their features because I'm an artist. And I wanted to try and capture them after this glorious encounter was over. And I looked at them very, very carefully. After that, there was like I just used the word whoosh because I was no longer in my room, in the Urantia room. I was there, and I now know that it was Wadsworth Mansion. I don't know if you've heard of this beautiful place in Connecticut with beautiful grounds.
Both of you have heard of it.
Huh?
I've heard of it through you and Michael, yes.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, it's a most glorious place. I have been to Connecticut since then. We went for a Urantia conference, and I flew down and saw those beautiful trees in Connecticut, and I said, oh, my God, this is the most wonderful experience to see this again in a life form. But I was there in the room, and it was very dark. It was very dark. I could not see real clearly, but I knew it was a very high ceiling, and there were arched doors, and the Father and Mother I could see perfectly, just as if I was looking at any human being. And the rays of lights were gone. They looked like ordinary people, but gorgeous and perfect. And there were 40 angels around them, but they were very, very darkly shown. The angels were I could only see a little bit. It was very hard to make them out, but I knew there were 40 because they told me 40 afterwards. And so I went through this whole encounter with them there and spoke to them. The Father came around from the table and stood in the middle of the room, and it was like he was a king. I mean, but not a king that you bow down to. Someone that was a king and a father and perfect that talked to you just as if he was your brother or your father or your best loving friend. Now, this really happened, and I was no longer consciously awake. I know that. But it continued. He asked me to come to the window. He opened the 2 large doors, and he told me, come and look out. And I went to the doors and looked out. And a little bird flew in the window and landed on his finger. And he said, look, we live in houses too. And he pointed to houses outside. Now, of course, in Wadsworth Mansion on the grounds, of course, there aren't homes. But in, I'm sure, his realm, they were residences of the angels. And the vision continued. My husband came in, Michael, into the room. Mark II, in his little Teton, came in with Doreen, who was also another guardian angel of ours, and they congratulated us. And it was a celebration moment that for some reason we had been able to meet, to come together, and now we were going to begin to implement this wonderful plan that the Father and Mother were going to give us. Now, there are a lot of parts of this dream that I have not written about to the public yet, but afterward I was outside the Wadsworth Mansion, and it was a very private time with the Father and the Mother. But I will write about that and release that at some time. But that was a very
I look forward to reading about it.
So when this happened, it was just so exciting. And I'd like Michael then to tell you that what happened after that they actually appeared and started coming to our home. And this is the most exciting part of it all because this gives us a reason to be able to help perhaps the world and to be an influence. We want to help so dearly and so bitterly to help world peace. This is what we feel is a major consideration right now. So here's Michael, Hercules.
Thank you, Dianne.
Well, it's a beautiful story, Hercules.
Yes, it is.
And what she didn't tell you is the Father and Mother embraced us, and we danced with the Father and the Mother, and we danced with Mark II and Doreen. And they, we take it as a real celebration, but yet a real call for us, a real beginning. Now, if we could just fast forward a little bit then to last year.
Okay.
In August, Dianne was resting and I was resting, and she had a vision of the Father and Mother were outside around our pool area. We have a pool. And Dianne was out there with them, in the vision, not physically. And they wanted to see the home. They indicated to her that they wanted to see the home. So she took them into the home in the vision. They went upstairs. They went through the backyard in the front and up the stairs, and they kind of surveyed the home. And it was not long after that they told us that they want to meet with us. They wanted to meet with us on a regular basis every 3 weeks in what is called, I mentioned the Great Experiment, but also they call it the 10-year plan. It's also called the Sixth Revelation, but it's a meeting. We call them team meetings now, like I mentioned earlier. And they come every third week or so, and they meet with us. And we ask questions, and they dialogue with us. They give us guidance on, what we do next, what are we supposed to do, how are we supposed to function, and get the message out, basically. So what happened, a couple team meetings after that, after the first couple team meetings, we set up our great room as a chapel for them, as a place for them to meet. And it's interesting that right after we set up that room for them, they put in. Now this is where it gets this is where it gets juicy.
Okay.
This is the fun part. What they did with the great room is they set up a communication system with the infinite Father Spirit. Now in paradise. Now that's the male consort of the infinite Mother Spirit. So that's the infinite Father Spirit who resides in paradise. So the communication system in the Great Room is for the local universe Father and the local universe Mother and the infinite Spirit to communicate with the infinite Father Spirit in paradise.
That is incredible.
And that's not even half of it. But I'll try to make this as quick as possible for time. But then
it looks like we're going to have to continue with another show because we're just getting to the intense part. So we only have like 4 more minutes left for the show. But wrap up your story, and then we will have you back on again to continue.
I appreciate that. And then out on our patio is set up a headquarters, a six floors, a headquarters for the archangels. And they're going to build temples. They're going to build a temple in the backyard for the Infinite Father, and then a temple in the backyard. There's a lot in the back of the school for the Universal Father. And they have told us, and we can get into this later, they have told us that they have moved from Wadsworth Mansion as their world headquarters, cleared it all out, to our home. And our home will be is in preparation to be the world headquarters for the Seraphic Planetary Government, for the Archangels, and for the 420 Counselors. And
that's incredible. And it resonates very strongly with mythology.
Yes, and in December, the 420 Counselors will come and establish their headquarters in December, they've told us, on the sixth floor patio level. So we're preparing, and we're preparing for this ministry and this message, Hercules. And like we said, we can definitely get into that a little bit more later.
And the mythic resonances are very clear. You have planetary and universal and archetypal spirits manifesting and speaking to you as they did in days of old, during the ages of gold and silver, when the Celestials walked amongst humanity, like in the days of Atlantis, when the Celestials walked with humans and interacted with them. And our accounts and our religions are echoes of the type of thing that you're experiencing in the here and now. So that is remarkable, and I want to explore it further. And I will definitely have you guys back on to explore this. And I also would like to invite you to our new show, Pride of Olympus, where we can share your prayer for world peace and help people become more aware of that effort as well. How can folks contact you between now and then to learn more about all the wonderful things you're doing?
Well, Hercules, I wanted to first say that we have our next World Peace prayer circle is going to be on Thursday, September 15th at 9 p.m., and that's Pacific time. So Thursday, September 15th, 9 p.m. Pacific time, and the next time, our next one after that will be October 12th, and we don't quite have the date yet, but the time. But yes, if anyone wants to contact us, it's I have a personal email, and it's Michael, Michael, Dunkin, Dunkin, like Dunkin' Donuts without the apostrophe. So it's Mike Dunkin. It's Michael Dunkin 1 at hotmail.com, and we are. I'm the president of the Los Angeles Society of the Urantia Book called UBLA, and we have a website, and it's www.ubla.org, and we're under the umbrella of the Urantia Book Fellowship, which is www.urantiabook.org.
Very awesome. Thank you so very much for coming on the Voice of Olympus. Thank you so very much for being on this transitional episode between one season and the next. And thank you so very much for sharing your spiritual experiences with us. We greatly appreciate it, and we wish you the best.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Hercules.
Thank you, Hercules, and thank you, Athena.
Thank you, Michael and Dianne.
Okay, have a wonderful evening, joyous journeys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay, God bless you.
God bless.
God bless you too. Bye-bye.
All right, bye.
So, that was awesome. It's always very refreshing to tap into new spiritual currents. And this one is very mythic, and though it's clothed in the terminology of the Urantia book, I'm sure those of you who are familiar with Greek mythology or other mythic spiritualities could pick up the symbols there and see who the entities involved are. So I'm pretty excited by this. What else is going on in our universe, Athena?
Well, as part of our spin-off show, The Pride of Olympus, Hercules has ongoing workshops on astral voyaging at the Cresco Public Library and at the Amber Dragon. And if you need more information about us, visit our website at www.herculesinvictus.net. For contact and community, visit us on Facebook at Hercules Invictus, Mythic Atlantis, or the Voice of Olympus. Hercules and Athena are also available for Olympian workshops, mythic activities, as well as epic special events and appearances.
Yes, we're available for many things. So give us a call.
We're multi-talented.
Yeah. That we are. And you can find our contact information on our website, or you can, as Athena said, contact us via Facebook and email and so forth. Well, thank you for sticking with us throughout Season 1. We promise Season 2 will be even more exciting, and we already have guests lined up for the first couple of months. So it is incredibly awesome that we're taking this new journey, and we're already working on Season 3. So we plan on being here for quite a while. To everybody, again, we thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. Joyous journeys and happy adventures.
Thanks for listening to the Spiritual Unity Radio Network. Join us 7 nights a week for exciting programming covering a variety of expressions of faith. And remember, all manifestations of the divine are equally valid.